Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something really significant in India-Pakistan relations, especially important if you're keeping track for UPSC exams.
Absolutely. We're talking about the fallout from the Pahalgam terror attack. India's response has been quite multifaceted.
Yeah, it's not just one thing, is it? We're seeing diplomatic moves, economic ones. We've looked at reports from the Indian Express and the Hindu to sort of piece this together.
hmm And the goal today is really to unpack these actions, water, trade, other links, and understand the strategic thinking behind them. Cut through the noise.
Exactly. So what's grabbing attention first? The range of these measures seems quite deliberate.
It does. It feels coordinated, not just reactive. And maybe we should start with water resources. That's always a sensitive point.
Right. The reports mention India restricting water flow from the Baglihar Dam. That's on the Chenab River, correct?
That's right, the Chenab. Now, they're saying it's temporary, sort of a punitive step after Pahalgam.
But the Chenab is crucial for irrigation in Pakistan's Punjab region, isn't it?
Hugely important. So even a temporary restriction, well, it can have a real impact on farmers there. It sends a message.
And what's key here, especially for, say, UPSC aspirants listening, is how this fits with the Indus Water Treaty.
Good question. See, Baglihar is a run-of-the-river project. So technically, under the treaty, India can operate it like this. It's compliant.
Okay.
But using that treaty-compliant infrastructure as a direct response to terrorism, that's the notable part. It signals a potential shift.
So even within the rules, it's like testing the boundaries.
Hmm.
We're using the rules in a new way.
Kind of, yeah. It raises that whole question of how far you can leverage agreements like the Indus Water Treaty when you're facing security issues like cross-border attacks.
And there was also mention, wasn't there, about possibly doing something similar with the Kashmir Dam that's on the Jhelum?
There was. Which does suggest this might not be just a one-off thing with Baglihar. It hints, maybe, at a broader strategic look at water resources vis-a-vis Pakistan.
Interesting. Because the Indus Water Treaty has held up through so much, hasn't it? Conflicts, tensions.
Remarkably resilient, yes. So these actions, while technically legal for now, they definitely make you watch that space closely. How the treaty is interpreted and used going forward, definitely something for UPSC candidates to track.
Okay, let's shift gears. Another big move, the trade ban. India has imposed a complete ban on imports from Pakistan, direct and indirect.
Yeah, total ban, effective immediately. The stated reasons are national security and public policy.
But wasn't trade already pretty minimal? Especially after, Pulwama in 2019, when India imposed that massive 200% duty and revoked MFN status.
You're absolutely right. Trade volumes were way down from their peak, which was over, what, $2.4 billion annually? So the immediate economic hit might be less severe than if trade was booming.
So what's the real weight of this ban then? Is it more symbolic?
I think the symbolism is huge. It's a very clear statement. And they've actually updated the foreign trade policy, the FTP 2023, to explicitly prohibit imports or even transit from Pakistan unless there's special approval.
Wow. So it's formally written into policy now.
Exactly. It underlines the intent to really sever those economic ties. It's a message of complete disengagement on the trade front.
And it's worth remembering, Pakistan never actually granted MFN status back to India, did they? Even when India had done so earlier.
No, they didn't,
Yeah.
which just, highlights how political trade has always been between them. Even before this, India was exporting things like pharma products, organic chemicals, auto parts, sugar, some food items.
So that's all stopped now.
Completely stopped. And Pakistan has retaliated, suspending all trade with India, including any indirect routes as well. So it's a full economic freeze, basically.
Another angle for UPSC prep there, how economic tools are wielded in foreign policy.
Definitely. Their effectiveness, the signaling aspect, it's all relevant.
Okay, what else? Maritime links were mentioned too.
Yes. India banned Pakistani-flagged vessels from docking at its ports. Immediately effective.
And Pakistan reciprocated.
They did, banning Indian-flagged ships. India cited Section 411 of their Merchant Shipping Act again, national security safety concerns.
But is there much shipping between them directly? Under their own flags?
Very, very little. Reports suggest maybe only about 14 ship visits total in 2024 so far. Most trade, when it happened, went via land routes or through third countries.
So again, the economic impact is probably tiny.
Negligible, most likely. This seems primarily symbolic, another layer of cutting direct contact. It's worth noting, though, the ban seems specific to ships under Indian or Pakistani flags. Third country vessels might be exempt, potentially on a case-by-case basis.
Right. Still, it adds to the overall picture. And finally, postal services.
Yeah, even mail and parcels. India's Department of Post put out a directive halting all exchanges with Pakistan, air and surface routes.
That one feels like it hits more at the people-to-people level, however small those connections might be now.
I agree. It's not a major economic lever, obviously. But stopping mail, it reinforces that message of cutting ties at, well, almost every level. Affects any remaining personal communication, direct links between ordinary people.
So let's pull this all together. We have the water measure on the Chenab, the complete trade ban, the maritime restrictions, the postal suspension. Plus, India also strongly condemned Pakistan's recent missile test, right? And there's this background hum about possibly revisiting the Indus Water Treaty itself.
Exactly. When you look at all these pieces together, it's a significant escalation, a clear intensification of diplomatic pressure following the Pahalgam attack.
It feels like a very deliberate, multi-pronged strategy.
It does. Even if the immediate economic pain from some parts, like the maritime ban, is limited, the cumulative effect is undeniable. It sends a very assertive signal.
A signal about India's willingness to use a whole toolkit in response to security threats.
I think so. Leveraging treaty provisions in new ways, imposing outright bans, cutting off movement and communication. It demonstrates a shift towards, perhaps, a more assertive posture. For UPSC aspirants analyzing this shift, how India is managing this complex relationship, using different policy tools, that's crucial.
Absolutely. These are really critical developments for understanding India's foreign policy and the security situation in the region right now.
Which leads to a thought, maybe for you listening, especially those preparing for exams. Given all these actions we've discussed, based on reports from the Indian Express and the Hindu, what do you think the longer-term consequences might be?
Yeah, how could this reshape regional stability or the future of India-Pakistan engagement? And what about existing agreements like the Indus Water Treaty? How viable are they looking now?
These are the big questions to think about. How effective will these measures be? What's the next potential step?
Definitely food for thought. If you found this deep dive helpful for your UPSC prep or just for understanding this complex issue better, please do like and subscribe for more analysis like this.
And let us know your thoughts or any questions you have in the comments below. We always appreciate hearing from you.